NBA talk, man. We had a good one yesterday. Some people thought maybe, just maybe, it could be the NBA Finals preview. Oklahoma City Thunder went to Boston, and a good one there ended up being a 118 victory to 112 for the Thunder. But we talked about it a little bit earlier. 60-some-odd three-point attempts from the Boston Celtics. But they are the reigning champions, so you got to put respect.
63 is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just 63 is crazy. And you missed, 40 something? That's just crazy. But conversation became, did we look at the NBA Finals? Are the Oklahoma City the favorites? Obviously, they have one of the best records, them in Cleveland in the NBA. Are they the Finals favorite, considering how they're doing the league right now? But a lot of people are saying pump the brakes on that. I don't buy them right now because they need to see it before they believe it. Are you in that boat? Are you a see it before I believe it with the Thunder?
It's just natural. I think people, until somebody wins or breaks through, there's always doubt. There was doubt last year with the Celtics. There were a lot of people who weren't picking them, even though they had been to the finals before. They keep winning all these games and all the stuff that they had done. And Rob G knows this because during their run last year, I separated from Chris. Chris was anti-Celtics, and I said, dude, I'm watching night after night. They went 12-4. At some point, they're winning. Like, what else do they have to do? And everybody's still doubting them. So I said, you know what? The Celtics are going to win the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. And it was because they kept winning, and they were winning by double digits. I was like, what else can they do? they played well. But there were a lot of people just didn't buy into them. Tatum, I don't know if they can close the deal, seal the deal, all this other stuff. And the same thing is going to apply here with OKC. They're a younger squad. Mm-hmm. This is all new territory for them. Uncharted waters. People are always going to be skeptical. People were skeptical of Denver and the Joker. Oh, yeah, he's going to let boy. But you remember people were saying, yeah, but he hadn't done anything. The Joker hadn't done anything in the postseason. So mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just meaningless points. And then he put on an absolute show in the playoff run to a title, and Denver won a championship.
Yeah. The NBA and NBA fans, we want to see bumps and bruises. We want to see scars. We want to see that you've been through something. You done been in a fight before. And that's what teams, kind of what we've seen historically in the NBA, right? You go back to the Bulls having to get beat up by the Pistons before they pull it off. The Pistons having to get beat up by the Celtics, talking about the 80s, before they could push through. It's just one of those things. LeBron had to get beat up before he would eventually get there. That's one of the things the NBA, you can kind of almost bank on, is that typically teams have to go through it before they can get to it, right? Before they can get to a finals appearance or a finals ring. Your point, the Celtics went through it. Eastern Conference Final, Eastern Conference Final, Eastern Conference Final. We're right there. We keep knocking. We're right there. We keep knocking. Get to the finals. Lose to the Warriors. Finally, they got through. And now people go, oh. And if you ask people their odds-on favorite, not necessarily Vegas, but you just ask and polled people, I would imagine most people would say they'd pick the Celtics. As of we stand today, I would pick the Celtics to repeat as well.
Just a year ago, nobody was saying 100%. That they bought into them because they're proven.
We got to see it.
Tested.
Yeah, and to be fair, Jason Tatum had fallen short a few times and kind of had games where you scratch your head like, that doesn't match his talent or that doesn't match what we've seen from him throughout the season. So now they're in a good place, right, where we expect that. So this is what OKC is going to go through. Also, I think it's fair, too, because they're really young. I think the average age is 24.2 or something. And usually you got to have a greater veteran presence. You got to have a younger star, maybe in his prime, 26, 27, a couple of those. But you also have to have those older veterans who, again, been through the battles. And usually you get a great mixture of that. And that is where you win, a la the Celtics, right? You start to have a great mixture of talent. Drew Holiday, been there, guy who's been to the finals before, guy who had been in the league for many years. Al Horford knows every single thing about the league. You got to have some of those guys on the roster as well. So I think that's another point I would make with OKC is who's that guy talking? All right, look, calm down. We'll be fine. There's a long series. Who's a veteran presence? Who has that experience? It's a long game, guys. A long game. We'll be fine. We've been here before. They don't necessarily have that. So they're a team, they come in on any given night, a Tuesday night, Wednesday night to your time. They're young. They got energy. They got one of the best players, if not the best player, or at least the MVP. I think we all agree Jokic is the best player in the NBA. That's tough to deal with. 32 from him a night, bam. and then they get a bunch of other guys who got young energy and skill. They're going to beat you a lot of nights. But in a slowed down, possession for possession, 7-game series, it's tough, and you kind of got to go through it to advance.
Yeah, and being skeptical is just a part of it.
Yeah.
And then it works the same exact opposite, where a lot of people were saying, even though, and you know this, all year I said the Chiefs aren't going to win a Super Bowl. They're just not that good. They've been lucky, blah, blah, blah. But how many people did you hear say, well, I can't go against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? Mm-hmm. They didn't want it. It didn't matter what they looked like. It's because they had already won previously. So you give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You give people who have won the benefit of the doubt in a positive way, and you give people a doubt for people who have never won trying to get over that hump. It's a weird thing.
It is. And I think it's kind of goes to a lot of things in life, too. Like the Chiefs, you would say, have earned that. Like, I bet against them.
If you're watching, though, it's what
they
I'm saying.
weren't great, but it is the only. I was with you on that. Like, something looks wrong. What's wrong, man? Patrick is a little off right now, and that they're barely winning. My only thing was, but dang, they literally got to the Super Bowl, and the Eagles are a wonderfully comprised team on both ends, especially in the trenches with offensive, defensive line. So it's like, if say the Eagles fumbled instead of the Rams, and now all of a sudden it's the Chiefs-Rams. The Chiefs win, and now we're sitting here, well, they done did it again. And so the Eagles had been that great. That's where the Chiefs are so, it's kind of I get what you're saying.
All I'm saying is,
they got there.
If you really watched them, they
weren't great all season. That's fair. That's all I'm saying. They never covered. Favored by 7, favored by 8, they never covered. It was
always skin of their teeth. Yeah. Something went right for them. Somebody fumbled. Yeah. Somebody missed a game-winning field goal. They hit the uprights with the field goal that bounced in for them. Mm-hmm. It was just unbelievable, and I just kept saying to myself,
It caught up to them. Not having a better game plan.
Now, nobody thought they'd get blown out like the way that they did. But
I need you to say that the Rod Parker way. They got blowed out.
They got blowed out.
And
there were a lot of people. I mean, you know me. I enjoyed it because I thought.
Did you watch it alone? I don't remember. Where were you?
Yeah. I was at home.
You're a Super Bowl alone guy?
Yeah, for the most part. Sometimes I go to parties. That was like early on in my career, but for the most part. I want to watch it and pay attention.
Honestly,
I want to pay attention.
It sounds great, and obviously, if you're like I'm a fan of the Lions, of course I don't even know. I would have went to Vegas or something. But at home ain't a bad idea. Sometimes every now and again you get up, you mix up, you catch up with your boys, you go to a little something. But at home ain't always a bad idea. I think I've probably watched maybe 4 or 5 of the last 6 or 7 Super Bowls at home. You know what I mean? It just ends up working out.
It just depends on where you are. And like if you were just, and I'm not trying to big up any Joe Regular.
Yeah.
It's better in a crowd. It's better at a Super Bowl party. But if we're going to talk about it and think about it, like going to a sports bar sometimes, I can't hear the sound.
I'm big on that. I need to know.
I want to know what's going on. I want to hear.
I need to hear. Yeah, TB12, talk to me. All $375 million.
I don't need to hear Tom Brady. Okay, I'll pass on Gee Whiz and Aw Shucks.
Yeah, he gotta. Come on, give me a little bit of Tom Brady at the roast.
I'll give me a little.
Rob G, give me the roast, Tom Brady. When he was at the roast going crazy, give me a little bit of that. But anyway, get back to this. I think Oklahoma City. I think they know this because if you heard Shea SGA after the game, he talked about it. Not too Shea. He was saying. This is a good win for us. This team is a great way to kind of test yourself. They are the reigning champs. They've been there before, giving them a lot of the praise of Celtics. They know they got to beat them. You got to knock off the king before you want to be that. So they're fully aware of that. And that's why it's going to be interesting playoffs, postseason, what I meant to say, because you got a few teams, OKC, Cleveland, but it's both teams where people are like, I don't know. If the Lakers get to them, if Denver gets to OKC, I don't know if they can beat Denver. You got Jokic. They've been there before. I don't know. I mean, LeBron and Luka.
And we saw Denver the other night put up 140
out the blue, too. It was. They were not on that pace.
No, and that was the scary part when you looked and went,
And that's the number one defense, too. So, yeah, people are like, I don't know. I mean, are they ready to beat? I mean, what if Minnesota and Anthony Edwards go crazy? And then you look at Cleveland. I like them, but I mean, Boston, and then what if Giannis goes crazy? So that's what both of these teams are fighting up against right now. They got to prove it, and that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. That's their responsibility to do so.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I wonder if people will hope for something new or look forward of seeing Boston build something? You know, like because you'll be rooting for one or the other, like seeing something new.
Grasser, actually a great question. I'm team. I would, in a perfect scenario, let's say the Thunder got to the finals versus Boston. Give me Boston winning because I would rather have start to get towards an enemy. Right now, people are indifferent about Boston. Like, hey, whatever.
Right.
I would want them to become the enemy. People are tired of them. That's good for basketball. Good. You got the people love hating them, watching. It's good, right? You need a villain. And it's good for the OKC, right? It burns. It hurts. We're mad. We're disappointed. And now you got maybe a budding rivalry. I think it'd be best for that. Yes, sir.
If that happens, like you say, OKC flames out and that's a story, and the Boston wins again and that's a story, is a byproduct of that then become, and the Celtics become the mini dynasty and they're the hated team, does Tatum then become the face of the NBA? Or still no?
Still no.
He just did
Still
something.
no, even though he's on the dynastic Boston Celtics.
There's just something missing there.
You just don't like light skins. I get it.
No, Steph was arguably the face of the league for a few years.
I don't know if he really was. I mean, I know he was.
I mean, he was. LeBron was still like the overarching king.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think Steph ever, as popular as he was.
All right, remember the movie in the 90s, Face Off?
Yes.
Can at least be that like a Two-Face or something from Batman? It was a Two-Face?
Yeah. We're not doing Two-Face.
It was Two-Face?
No.
It was because LeBron was LeBron, the best player and all that. But Steph had it on lock. You had Laker kids walking around with Warrior jerseys.
Steph was more popular because LeBron is polarizing. But I don't think that Steph ever eclipsed LeBron. I don't.
That's fair. That's fair.
all.
I don't think Tatum will be either.
Would you say that Steph was more popular than LeBron?
I'll give you that. That was a better way of phrasing it. I think LeBron was still the face of the league where things went through him. He was still the statesman of the league.
Well, he decided the bubble.
Famously,
they were all going to leave. They said, well, if LeBron said he's going to stay, then we're all staying.
There you go. So he's the face of it, but I think absolutely the most popular. And that happens.
So even still, Tatum, with all that, could not do it.
Nope.
So basically,
by the way,
he can never become the face of the NBA is what you're saying.
I just don't see
I don't see it. But because it's more about that. It's more about
than just winning.
A back-to-back champion on the best team in the league.
Can I toss it?
Even Giannis, when he won his one in Milwaukee, people were impressed.
That was a great point. You thought most people like him. He's entertaining.
He's handsome. He's built.
He's
funny.
the Adonis, and all that, and it still didn't work for him.
You always talking about somebody handsome, Rob G. And by the way, I was in the control room or that side, and I was watching you, and Tatum was on. For a Laker fan, you were all right with him.
Future Laker Jason Tatum.
Yeah, you were like,
there you go.
He was missing shots. You're like, come on, Tatum.
Rob G, everybody's a future Laker.